What is going on, guys? Mr. Basie here, and today we're doing some more Seduce Me 2 demo. We will be doing Damien's introduction today, and I'm pretty pumped about it, honestly. I think his is going to be really interesting, really dastardly. It's just kind of a prediction, but I think either way it's going to be good, I know that, but I think it's going to be pretty crazy. And after this, we should unlock the secret introduction, but that will be in another video, because this one's going to go on for a while. We're going to do all of Damien's intro, naturally, and then we're going to move on, and once we're in the demon world with Diana, we're going to continue on and do some other choices that we didn't do before, because apparently they're pretty interesting. I'm actually really excited about that, to see what that's all about. And again, so that it'll probably go on for a bit longer than usual, which means we won't have time to do the secret intro, but that'll be in another video. And I gotta admit, I'm excited about that too. So without further ado, let's get it kicked off, and I hope you guys enjoy. I told him I had no regrets. I told Damien that I did not regret for 1 second that I made a deal with Diana to make him human. Are you... Dude, how is that like your choice to make? I stood steadfast and knew what I was doing, but I still didn't like the choice I had made. Something in my gut didn't feel right about what I did to Damien. Yes, I knew that Diana wouldn't have raped him. Excuse me, but what if she had? What if I gave her permission to do so and I didn't know it? What if he didn't want to go through with it and Diana really did sleep with him anyway? What? What? Did I miss something? Was this in the other one? I was mortified at the choice, but I had just wanted him to be happy. Every time he said my name made me feel so happy. Every time he held me or kissed me was a moment I carved into my memories forever to cherish. I loved him and wanted him to be truly happy. Damien reassured me that Diana didn't do anything to him, but I could not help but imagine it and even dream of it. Oh.
So, bastard son, do you truly wish to become human? You know very well that I am capable of making that happen.
This is so weird, dude. What? So did he agree to it? I mean, I guess we'll find out.
I will not betray her trust.
Oh.
What she doesn't know won't hurt her. Besides, don't you want to be human so you can be with her and not put her in any danger?
Stop it!
What the heck? I couldn't stop illusions of what Diana and Damien could have done from appearing in my dreams, like a scene doomed to repeat over and over. Diana, shrouded in shadow, would loom over Damien and show herself as the evil woman she truly was. Damien, however, would struggle, fight to get away from her. I didn't want to see this, but I was forced to watch the scene play out.
Stop it. What makes you think you're in a position to say no to me?
Oh. Alright then, dang.
I won't do it, Diana. You can't make me do this.
What's happening, dude?
Oh, can't I? Your precious little human isn't here to save you.
Are they talking about sex? I think they might be. I tried to scream, to protest and prove Diana wrong, but I knew that I wasn't there. I was merely a bystander to a dream I could not stop. I was forced to witness Diana chaining Damien up to a black bed and touching him in the most sensual but unwanted ways possible. Her nails and tongue running along his skin made both him and me flinch and whimper in disgust.
Stop it!
Oh my goodness!
Are you not enjoying yourself? You're an incubus, and even more than that, a man. Surely you can enjoy this treat in exchange for your precious humanity.
What treat are we talking about here, Diana? What's going on? This was wrong. This was sick and beyond wrong. I felt like I was outside the small bubble Damien and Diana were in, and I was beating against the wall, trying to get in and stop her, but I couldn't break through. Each movement Diana made grew more and more sexual, like a predator playing with its prey. Damn, that's crazy. That sounds ridiculous. Damien struggled, thrashing about and fighting back against the chains that held him down, trying to break free. I prayed that he would. I screamed in the hope that he would be released from this. However, Diana glared and snapped her fingers, forcing him to gasp and his eyes to glow gold. What? He began to quake as if he was dying and starved like an animal, and glared angry daggers at Diana, who only laughed. What sent deadly shivers down my spine was Diana looking over at me, as if she knew I was watching.
Remember, dear, you made this decision.
Oh no. Diana chuckled before leaning close to Damien's face, licking over his mouth and straddling his hips. Oh!
She was a cute little diversion. But now it's time to have some real fun.
Oh my, if it wasn't under these circumstances, that would probably be pretty cool, but yeah. As Damien began to scream, what? I suddenly awoke from my nightmare, mentally unable to take being trapped inside of it anymore.
Huh?
This poor dude. Beside me, I heard and felt Damien rise out of bed in response to me waking. I looked over at him, seeing him quickly rub his eyes and look at me with worry.
Hey, what's wrong?
Nothing, just watched you getting it on. I knew he couldn't read my mind anymore, so he wouldn't have known what I had seen. I still couldn't help but need to embrace him from the dream I had. Grabbing Damien's arm gently, I began to whimper.
Huh? Hey, come here.
Damien gently wrapped his arms around my form and hugged me to him, petting my back. I let out a weak mewl. Ew. Shutting my eyes and trying not to cry. Damien gently kissed over my head, trying to calm me down.
Everything's okay. It was just a nightmare. I'm right here.
His voice helped me slowly start to relax, knowing that what he said was true. It was a nightmare, not real. I couldn't shake all the sadness from my mind, but I calmed down enough to not let it control me anymore. Damien gently rocked me as his arms wrapped around my body lovingly. As he softly whispered my name, my mind simply melted into a peaceful hum. I looked up at Damien and rubbed my eyes as he loosened his embrace around me. I'm sorry, I just can't stop thinking about the deal I made with Diana.
I told you before that it was fine. Honestly, it's nothing to worry about.
Damien gently kissed my forehead before pressing his to mine, nuzzling me softly. He stared deep into my eyes with a loving smile, one that made my heart ooze in happiness despite my worry.
I cannot be any happier than I am now. I'm marrying the woman of my dreams as a human, an actual human. I owe everything to you.
What? Well, I'm not saying humans are bad or anything. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Like, he's happy about that. Sam was, like, devastated he couldn't do his demon marriage thing, so I don't know, man. I rubbed my nose against Damien's, closing my eyes and wrapping my arms around his neck. I knew he was being sincere and was truly happy. I had to get over my fears and deal with it. He was human now, and we were going to be married soon. My heart truly couldn't believe it. I was going to marry Damien, and we'd live happily ever after together. It was so good. I almost couldn't believe the truth of it. However, I was always reminded of the reality of it every time Damien held me in his arms. Damien smiled before kissing my head and patting the bed behind me.
Come on, let's go back to sleep. I'll be right here if another nightmare appears.
I nodded and slowly fell back onto the mattress, cuddling up to Damien as he laid beside me. If the nightmare came back, Damien would be in my arms, reminding me it was all fake and just my imagination. Everything would be alright. The night quickly passed by and the morning sun peeked through my window drapes and landed perfectly over my eyes, waking me up. I stretched and yawned, not wanting to get up just yet. Wait, so there was like no sex scene? What the heck? Was this like the only one? However, the emptiness of the bed next to me made me open my eyes wide, finding no Damien beside me. Damien? I sat up and looked around the room after rubbing the sleep from my eyes. Damien was nowhere in the room, which confused me. Where was he?
Oh, good morning.
The fuck? He's under the bed? I looked over at the door to see Damien holding a tray of breakfast with two plates full of delicious food. In a vase beside my breakfast plate were two beautifully bloomed white roses, which made a soft smile grow on my face. Morning? Is that for us?
Yeah. I figured why not have breakfast in bed?
Why not? You are so sweet, thank you. Damien smiled and sat beside me, placing the tray over both of our laps. The smell was practically intoxicating in the best ways possible. Before we began to eat, however, Damien picked up the TV remote from the nightstand beside him.
James's big toy reveal is today. You mind if we watch it?
James! Doing big things for the company. Let's go, James. I shook my head, eager to see it as well. James had become the CEO of the Anderson Toy Company, so I was curious to see how he was doing and how the company was holding up. Apparently, it was rising higher and higher up the top business rankings, and soon had become one of the top 500 businesses internationally. What? He's making bank. Oh my. I was proud of James, but I was more happy to see that Damien seemed to be his #1 fan. He was always giddy whenever he talked about all of his brother's accomplishments. It was adorable. Damien grinned before turning on the TV and changed the channel to the local news station. It was one of the best news stations out there, and I was not being biased. Anyone who claimed to love Chicago knew it.
All right, so here we have an interesting story to tell. The Anderson Toys Company, an internationally famous toy business, has just recently announced a new line of toys in development. According to the CEO, the line is said to focus on fantasy.
On fantasy.
Let's take a look at the public announcement.
That sounds awesome.
I am more than happy to show off our new line, Fantasy Kingdom, for you all this morning. These toys will not only provide friendship and fun for children around the world, but will help inspire imaginations and let creative minds grow.
It's awesome, dude. I cannot help but squeal at what I saw on the TV. All lined up in a row were adorable cartoon-like stuffed fantasy dolls, glimmering in the broadcasting lights of the TV station. There were knights, royalty, and creatures of all kinds, some not even truly fantasy. Damien, however, laughed quietly at the sight. I bet you anything that's like a replica of their like home, their castle, and everything that's in there, like the demon world. What they're really cute.
They are. Only a couple of them are real, though.
Huh, really? My jaw dropped. Some of the creatures that were represented were actually real. I knew demons and devils existed, but there were more than them. My mind began to imagine all the creatures on the screen being potentially real. Damien nodded and pointed to the TV.
Vampires are real, but they don't look like that. They look like humans.
Great. That's fantastic. Makes me feel safe. No way. I could not believe it. There was no way vampires existed. Damien, however, nodded with a reassuring grin.
I promise it's true. Werewolves used to exist too, though they were killed off by the vampires long ago. Let's see.
Wait, what? Oh my goodness, that's crazy. That seems hard to believe, but why did he sound like a super old man when he said that? He's like, though they were killed off by the vampires long ago. I looked at the TV to see the vampire doll and werewolf plush sitting next to each other, being simply cute and stereotypical of what most people imagine them to look like. Damien then pointed to the screen again.
There, the angel toy? Angels are real too, only they don't look like that.
Nothing looks like that, apparently. I looked over to see a beautiful gold-haired doll of an angel. They really didn't look like that? I tilted my head at Damien. How do they look if they're not like that?
Well, they look...
Damien rubbed his chin, unsure of how to reply. I could tell he was being serious and wasn't lying about them looking different. But they seemed to be hard to describe. Damien then shook his head.
They look like old statues. It's really hard to say without drawing it out or something.
I really wasn't in the mood to get up and grab a paper and pencil, so I shrugged and let it go for the moment. Damien and I looked back to the TV, seeing the entire line pass by the camera, showing what toys were available. I'm surprised he didn't make a demon toy, like a Catgirl or something.
I don't think many people would understand it. Though it would be cool to have a demon doll.
Indeed. I guess you're right. They're for kids, after all. I looked at Damien as he became absorbed in the line of toys. I couldn't help but smile at how intrigued he was. It made me curious. Hey Damien, did you ever have toys as a kid? Damien looked at me in surprise before shaking his head with a slight grimace.
No, I didn't. Matthew
poor
made
guy.
some for me sometimes, but they were always taken away.
What? Why, man? That's terrible. I frowned. I was sorry for asking, but Damien shook his head again and smiled.
However, when we came to the human world, I actually got one. It was a stuffed kitten. I didn't do anything, but it was fluffy and cute.
That's great. Oh, that's right. Matthew made that little thing. I guess that is a toy, kind of technically. That's cool. They would actually do stuff. Damien rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment.
Must be dumb, huh? A grown man with a cute toy like that?
I don't know. I mean, you didn't have toys in the beginning, so you might as well enjoy yourself now. No, it's cute. Damien stared in shock at me, but I was being serious. It didn't matter that Damien was a man. Cute toys were cute for a reason, and it was okay to think so. Having cute toys is not a bad thing at all. That's what some toys are meant to be, cute. It doesn't matter who has them or how old you are. Cute is cute. Alright, dang, cute. Dang, we get it, man. It was just a fact to me. However, Damien couldn't help but chuckle softly before bringing one hand to my head and petting over my hair.
You are so adorable, you know that?
What? I blushed and looked down at the breakfast tray in front of us. I wasn't that cute. Oh my god! I felt myself rub the back of my neck in embarrassment. That made Damien laugh and kiss my cheek, forcing a gasp to come out of me. I looked at Damien as he smiled a playful grin at me.
It's true.
Alright. Fantastic. We both turned back to the TV and listened as James explained each toy in detail. I looked over to Damien to see him practically enthralled with the sight of his brother presenting his line. I gently nudged him, making him look back to me. Geez, you're making me jealous. It's like James is enthralling you through the TV to buy his toys. I, of course, was joking. Damien was very happy for his brothers, especially James. With a raised eyebrow, Damien gently removed the tray from our laps, here we go, placing it on his nightstand before crawling over my body and making me lay back. I stared up at him in surprise as he gave me a seductive smirk.
And what if I was enthralled by you?
Oh my. Oh, that's right, he can't enthrall anymore. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Man, he doesn't have the secret weapon anymore. I was speechless. Damien was full of surprises. Even as a human, he didn't have the ability to read my mind, but he knew exactly what to say to make me squirm. How was he this good? He was human now. He's cheating. Damien chuckled before leaning down and kissing me. Despite him not being a demon anymore, his kisses were always so magical. They each took my breath away each time his lips touched mine. I loved them. I wrapped my arms around him and deepened the kiss between us, forgetting about what was going on with the toy line. All I could think about was Damien's kiss. It was sweet and passionate, eager to make my body quiver underneath the one kissing me. However, the sound of our stomachs rumbling in sync forced us to break away from the kiss and look down at our touching bellies.
Maybe we should eat a bit before we continue this, huh?
Yeah, you don't want a bone on an empty stomach, you might pull something. Good idea. As much as I wanted to keep making out with Damien, I knew my stomach would keep interrupting, and so would his unless we ate. We ate the delicious breakfast Damien made while watching the rest of the news. It was a nice segment, and Matthew even appeared to help during Damien's presentation. Soon, we were flipping channels and watching random shows. The day passed by lazily. We barely left the bedroom because we just didn't want to do anything. Oh my god. It was rather relaxing, surprisingly. I knew we had to work on the wedding arrangements eventually, but today was not the day for that. We needed a day to ourselves, to remind each other that we were going to be together for a long time. It wasn't long before we found ourselves cuddling into each other's arms, taking a mid-afternoon nap. What the heck? It was a sweet and peaceful drowsiness that lured both of us to close our eyes together. The darkness of my mind invited me to stay a while, and I gladly accepted its invitation. It felt nice, and I was enjoying the rest it gave my body. However, I soon saw that I was not alone in the dark. Oh my. Damon slowly appeared before me and took my hand, kissing it gently. I felt myself shudder, but it wasn't his nude form or his kiss that surprised me. His nude form just surprises you. It was his eyes. My mind recognized those eyes, shivers shooting up my body from the sight. Instead of the loving and soft blue and purple his eyes usually were, they were a deep gold. They bore into my soul as Damien continued to keep his lips on my hand. Damien? Ew. As Damien smirked against my skin, my body began to feel hot, making me curl into my body. I tried to pull my hand away from him, but he held it firmly, keeping his lips against my skin over my knuckles. No! I recognized the feeling he was enthralling me. Why was he doing this in my dream? Why was this happening? We continued to float in the darkness, his enthrallment invading my body as he held my hand to him still. Stop! Finally, I was able to pull my hand away and I held it close to my chest. Damien stared in shock before something dark covered my eyes.
Look out!
Oh! What the... Huh? From out of nowhere, Diana's voice rang through the air, followed by the sounds of an intense battle. I looked around the darkness, unsure of what was going on, but something did not feel right. As I stood, lost in the dark, I felt a heavy weight upon my back, forcing me down. It was as if a large boulder was pressing down on me, wanting to crush me beneath its weight. I fought against it, gritting my teeth as I struggled. A large grunt echoed over me, forcing me to look up and see Diana pushing at the boulder to get it off of me. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Why would Diana ever help me? The heck? Quickly, we both forced it off my body, and soon I found myself looking into the Great Hall, the Incubi's old castle in the Abyssal Plains. The interior was as regal as I remember, but behind me was a broken-down entrance where I assumed the boulder had originated from. However, Diana and I were not alone.
Is she all right?
Oh, dang.
I wouldn't worry about her, you mistake.
Oh! Take a step back, good sir. What is that about? I stared as the Demon Lord and Damien stood squared off with each other. In the Demon Lord's hand was a large chain covered with dried blood, and my stomach churned at the sight.
She will never leave this world alive as long as I live.
Oh man, you about to get crossed off. I looked at Damien, then back to the Demon Lord. What was going on? Why was Diana here, and why was I here? Whoa. As the Demon Lord whipped his... What the heck, Star Wars? As the Demon Lord whipped his chain at Damien, Diana shot out a blast of purple energy forcing it to ricochet away. Diana stepped in front of me and Damien, glaring hard at the Demon Lord and preparing another spell in her hands.
Go with her. I'll deal with this once and for all.
Oh man, final battle.
If
Final
I'm
boss.
going to fall here, all of you will fall with me!
Oh, what? The Demon Lord, with a crazed grin, pointed his hand towards the ceiling and let out an angry howl, causing tremors and quakes to run through the room. Diana shot her hands upward and formed a purple barrier around our bodies, but she winced with each stone that fell and slammed into the barrier.
I can't hold it.
You best hold it. No.
This castle will be your grave!
What? But you're here too, bro. My instinct was to reach out and hold on to Damien, but before I could move, he grabbed my face and kissed me roughly. I stared at him, wondering what he was doing, but I kissed him back and dug my fingers into his shoulders. Was this dream going to end with us dying? As Damien pulled away, I saw tears begin to form in his eyes. I stared as he gently pulled away from me and ran outside of Diana's barrier at the Demon Lord, picking up a fallen sword from the ground. Oh no, I already know where this is going. With a courageous shout, Damien slashed at the Demon Lord, forcing him to quickly jump backwards towards the throne.
Keep her safe.
Oh shit.
What? Are you insane? You're powerless against him!
You're faster than me as a demon. I won't be able to get out of here fast enough for us both to survive.
Oh no, Damien. Damien. I wasn't sure what was happening, but I didn't like what I was seeing. Why was Damien telling Diana to keep me safe? I watched as Damien looked at Diana with an affirmative glare and nod. Before I could question it, Diana ducked down and threw me over her shoulder. How she managed to be strong enough to perform such a feat was beyond me, but I was too thrown off to care.
You will not be forgotten.
No! What do you mean?
Just go!
I reached out to Damien, losing track of what was happening as Diana began to run away from him and the Demon Lord faster than a speeding car. Damien! Damien! Oh, poor guy, man. He's freaking brave, dude.
I love you.
Oh, dude. That's like soul-crushing right there. I watched the tears run down Damien's cheeks as he reached back for me, but he remained where he stood. As Diana ran with me over her shoulder, the ceiling began to crumble within the hall, stone and glass falling all around the Demon Lord and Damien. The world around me began to go into slow motion as I kept reaching out to Damien, struggling in Diana's arms as she ran. Why was this happening? I could only watch as the Demon Lord approached Damien and quickly wrapped the chain around his neck, pulling him into the air and hanging him with it like an executioner's noose. Damien tried to place his feet on the Demon Lord while his fingers clawed at the chains, trying to find some purchase. As he managed to get his feet around the Demon Lord's neck, a large avalanche of stone and glass fell over their bodies, hiding them from sight. I couldn't be sure, but it looked as if they had been crushed. No! Damien, what the heck, man? The world around me broke apart as I began to scream in agony at what I was forced to witness. It couldn't have been real. I didn't want it to be real. I let the darkness of my dreams envelop me as I mentally repeated over and over that this was not real. The world around me broke apart as I began to scream in agony at what I was forced to witness. It couldn't have been real. I didn't want it to be real. I let the darkness of my dreams envelop me as I mentally repeated it over and over that this was not real. Once again, I was floating in darkness, curled into myself in overwhelming sadness. Why was this happening? Why was I being forced to see nightmare after nightmare? I dug my nails into my arms, wanting to wake up already. Please let me wake up, please. As I felt my body begin to fall, I let go of my arms and tried to reach for something to stop my rapid descent. Ugh! Faster and faster, I felt my body tumble and fall through the dark into an unknown oblivion. I tried to grasp at anything to catch me, to stop me. I eventually woke up, holding on to Damien as I refocused my vision. I was back in my room. I had landed and awoken before I felt the impact. Or perhaps the impact woke me up. My grip on his shirt, woke Damien from his sleep, gasping and looking to me.
God, what happened? What's wrong?
This guy must get no sleep, straight up. Damien. I instinctively wrapped my arms around him, needing to feel him physically. It wasn't enough to see or hear him, but the feeling of his body being in my arms reassured my mind that he was okay and that he was here with me, alive. Damien looked at me and wrapped his arms around me, letting out a small sigh and nuzzling me softly.
Another nightmare?
I could only nod against his shoulder. I was quivering in his arms, but I was thankful that everything was okay. My dream was just that, a dream. I sighed and kissed his cheek softly, silently apologizing. Damien held me closer for such a long time, understanding my need to simply feel him. He didn't pull away, nor did he speak. He simply held me and gently nuzzled me to help me fully come down from my fear. I felt his hand gently pet my hair, aiding my shift from sadness to a relaxing calm. Everything was fine. Everything was okay. I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep getting into nightmares.
You can't control your dreams.
Thanks, ass. My memories flash back to the first time he said that to me. It was the day right after we met. He had saved me from my nightmare of Malik's. Oh, I knew that sounded familiar. I let out a smile across my cheeks as I looked up at Damien. You told me that when we first met. Damien gently pulled away and smiled at me, kissing my cheek.
I did, didn't I? You remember that?
Damn straight. I nodded. I never wanted to forget how we had met. He and his brothers came to the human world and arrived at my house where I had got to be with them and learn all about them. At the same time, I was able to become close to Damien and fall in love with him. Yes, there were some bumps along the way, but we were able to get through them. We even were able to give Damien something he desperately wanted, to be human. Oh, he wanted that. Okay, it sounded like we wanted that. Damien gently caressed my cheek, inviting me to nuzzle into his palm, and he smiled down at me as he laid his forehead against mine.
No matter what comes our way, I promise to protect you and love you for the rest of my life.
Aw. You'll never leave me? Damien shook his head, and I believed him. His simple smile was enough for me to understand that he was telling the absolute truth. He wouldn't leave me, and I would never leave him. I nuzzled my nose to his, looking up into his beautiful eyes. You don't regret not being a demon anymore? He shook his head again. I knew he was beyond happy to be human, but the nightmares made me worry over and over without relenting. I knew I was worrying over nothing, but more than anything else, I wanted Damien to be happy. I couldn't help but worry. I slowly tilted my head up and captured his lips with mine. Oh, here we go. This is the scene. Kissing him over so softly. He returned my kiss, and his arms gently tightened around my body. My worries slowly began to melt and drift away as he held me. I could feel my body slowly drawing closer to Damien's, craving more of his touch. My fingers gently traveled up his shoulders and ran through his hair, brushing through the strands lovingly. He shivered at my touch, making me tremble in response. The thing was, I had just woken up from a nightmare. Was it really right to feel like this right now? My mind questioned my body's intentions, and my body ignored every logical reason my mind had to put a stop to the situation. I had to listen to one or the other. Oh geez, here it goes. Listen to your mind, listen to your body. Wait, which one was the one that was telling me to bone? I don't remember. Wait, the mind was okay, the body. It must be the body. It's got to be the body. All right, here we go. Something in my body was calling for Damien and didn't care about what I had just witnessed. I was attracted to him and needed more of him. Oh my god. Now we're gonna see if he's able to pull off some incredible stuff, because he doesn't have that little trick up his sleeve with the enthrallment thing anymore. It was crazy, but I didn't care. I was in love and also deep in lust. Oh my. I slowly dragged my hands down and began to undo his shirt, needing to feel his bare chest with my fingers. In response, Damien dipped his hands under my shirt and back and up my back, and I shivered in delight as he reached my spine. I couldn't help but moan against his lips at his touch, loving how his fingers teasingly and lovingly ran down my back. I knew this scene was coming. I was like, is this really gonna be the only one that doesn't have a sex scene? As his chest was bared to me, I ran my fingertips over his toned skin as I arched my back towards him. Damien smirked slightly against my lips as he reached farther under my shirt, discovering that I wasn't wearing a bra and feeling my bare skin where the clasp would be. I opened my eyes, watching him stare down at me with a loving yet lust-filled gaze. Just his stare made me feel weak in his arms and made me moan once again against his lips and swoon into his arms. Damien moved his hands away so that he could fully remove his shirt from his body before helping me out of mine, pulling away from the kiss to do so. I whimpered at the loss, but I knew it had to be done. Necessary. It was like a necessary maneuver. As Damien gathered me back into his arms, I wrapped my arms around his neck, needing to be close to him. He became much more daring whenever we were about to make love. It was almost like a complete character change whenever passion took over. He knew what he was doing, and he knew exactly where to hold me to make me melt against him. Damien slowly ran his hands down my back and slipped them under the hem of my pants and panties. Gripping to my bare rear, these guys are brothers, they're all ass men, and massaging each cheek oh so lovingly. Oh so lovingly? What? I pulled away from his skin and moaned out into the air between us, gripping his shoulders at the feeling. Just the feeling of him just like massaging your cheeks. It wasn't helping that the heat and need in my core were flaring to have him take me as he groped my ass and made my nerves jump and shake in desire. Oh man, okay. I looked at Damien with half-lidded eyes, feeling my desire increase with each press of his fingers and palms. He had a small smirk on his lips, and I licked my own at the sight. Damien gently leaned in and nipped at my mouth, biting my lower lip and sending pleasure waves down my body and into my already tightening core. As he released it, he leaned his forehead against mine, staring deep into my eyes.
Are you sure you want to do this? I don't think I'll be able to stop myself if we continue.
What? Just gonna keep plowing? Alright. I guess this is gonna be a good one. I didn't want to hear it. I grabbed his head and pulled him back into a passionate kiss, needing to stop him from suggesting that we stop. I didn't want to stop. I wanted him. Damien took the hint and kissed me back just as deeply. He dug his fingers into my skin. Oh my, what the? Making me arch my back further and grind against him in need. He likes it rough, man. I was drowning in desire and I needed him immediately. Not fast enough. He had removed the remainder of our clothes from our bodies and we were making sweet and passionate love. Our breaths and moans echoing through the room shamelessly and relentlessly. Oh man, this is heating up. Each word we let out became a declaration of love, of pleasure, of eternal bliss between us as we rocked on the mattress passionately. Dude, I can just imagine this. This is hilarious. It's just like the squeaky, just like squeaks on the mattress. My fingers danced and dragged themselves along his skin, leaving lovely red marks in their wake. What? These guys are going at it, man. Careful now. We didn't need demon enthrallment to feel immense pleasure between us. We made each other feel perfect as humans, and that was all that mattered when we held each other. That's nice. Soon our moans became harder and louder. Here we go. Driving alongside our pleasure and ecstasy, my fingernails began to dig into his skin and onto the bed sheets as I began to apex and rush over my highest point. Well, see, now this is a very obvious climax. This one must have been good because this is the most descriptive one that I think we've read so far. So good on you, Damien. You're doing well as a human. As I finally passed through the peak of my pleasure, whoa, so did he, and we were both blissful and warm. Oh God. We slowly melted into the afterglow of our sex and cuddled with each other, not wanting to lose the warmth between our bodies. Our sex was part of how we expressed our love to each other, and we didn't want to lose any bit of it. Damien cradled me in his arms and kissed my forehead before kissing me on the lips gently.
I am yours. Forever.
Dang, alright, man. And I am yours. It wasn't long before I closed my eyes and fell into sleep again. This time I was able to float into a blissful darkness, uninterrupted. Soon, days went by, passing forward in almost hyperdrive, until a couple of days before the wedding. Damien and I worked hard after our rest day to make everything perfect, and we were positive that nothing could go wrong. The boys picked him up, leaving me alone to get into my wedding dress and wait for my limo to drive me to the wedding hall. I was nervous that I needed to prep everything on my own without interruption. I got into my dress, finished getting ready, and wound up staring at myself in the mirror in awe. I was in my dream wedding gown, looking as I had always imagined I'd look like getting married. The one thing that made it special was that I was marrying... I stopped myself. Damien wasn't a demon. He was a human.
Aren't you so proud of yourself?
Oh my, what the heck? Huh? I looked around, suddenly hearing Diana's voice in the air. Just hearing her ask that one question filled the air with dark and menacing tension. However, it was impossible. How was she here? Diana, where are you?
You didn't answer my question.
Why should I? Show yourself. Oh! Okay then. As I looked at the mirror, I gasped. Instead of my reflection, I saw a dark shadow with gold eyes staring at me. I would know those red eyes anywhere. Diana.
How does it feel to be inches away from marrying the man of your dreams?
Pretty fantastic. I mean, I would imagine. Why should I tell you anything? Why are you even here?
A frisky bridezilla, aren't you?
What? Answer me.
Tell me first. How do you feel now that Damien's no longer who he was?
What? Who he what?
Remember, he was born a demon, and you took that away from him. Well, I did anyway. At your request, of course.
What the heck? He wanted to be human, though. This was insane. Why was I arguing with her when she was just a shadow in the mirror? Diana let out a dark laugh.
You don't even know who you're marrying, do you? Damien, the human who was a demon. What's next? Will he demand to be a woman instead?
What?
He could easily be one. Oh, wait. He can't because he no longer has the ability to do so himself.
He could just straight be a woman? What is this now? Why do you care? He can do what he wants.
But do you even know what he wants? I want to go to the human world. I want to be human. Tell me, can you give him everything he wants? I want my mother back. I want to forget that I was ever a demon. I want to forget I was even born.
How would that doesn't even make sense? What the heck? You want to forget that you were even born? What? Stop it. Oh, I couldn't take it any longer. I grabbed the lamp on my nightstand and lifted it, ready to smash the mirror to pieces. However, as I looked back at the mirror, it only showed my reflection. Diana was gone.
I knew it. I knew it. That girl has demon magic.
How did these guys just know? Like, what the, that could have been a reasonable contact from Diana, man. That doesn't prove we have magic. What? It makes no sense, man.
Then quit talking and let's take her. The demon lord will be so pleased.
Okay, so these guys are mad weird, but we're going to skip to the parts that I'm talking about because, again, we already saw a majority of this. So we're going to skip to the parts where these choices actually take place, and I'll pick it up from there. All right, guys, so here we are. We can either explore or stay in the room. Let me do a brief explanation so that you guys know what's going on if you need a refresher or if you haven't seen it so far. So basically, we just got dropped into the demon world. Diana was there. She's apparently okay with us. She wants to help us out to get back to the human world. And so she puts us here to wait so that, you know, so they can collect these ingredients to cast a spell and send us back to the human world. And so we're, you know, she told us to wait here. Now we have the option to either stay in the room and explore. Last time, I'm pretty sure I stayed in the room. Either that or I explored a little bit. I chickened out early and I came back because I didn't want to get crossed off. So we're going to explore today and see where it goes. I'm going to go as far as we can and choose all the different pathways. So we're going to be skipping around a lot potentially just to see everything. You know what I mean? Because this is, of course, the last... you know, the last incubi before the secret intro, and I'm not sure what that's going to contain. It might not even be the same as this. So with that being said, let's go ahead and click explore and see where it takes us. There was no way I was letting this chance pass me by. I stood and walked towards the door, opening it a crack and looking around. There was no one in the hall, but there were two directions to go. Which way? We're going to go right. I went with right. I closed the door behind me as I exited my room and began to make my way down the right corridor. Everything was definitely medieval style, and I felt a bit small in the hall. The passage seemed long, decorated with wall candles, paintings, and random curtains and flowers. It was mystical to see, and I smiled. As I approached another fork in the hall, however, I sighed. Really? How does anyone find their way around? I looked back, knowing I hadn't walked far from my room. I could turn back. You know, I think this is what I did, and then I went back to my room. Head back to the room now. We're going to go left. I was heading right, so decided to try the opposite direction this time around. I turned left and headed down the hall, greeted by more fantastical decor. The hallways began to almost drive me nuts. I found myself going upstairs, then downstairs, then wound up in a four-way corridor. Where have I landed myself? I became frustrated. Maybe giving in to my curiosity was a bad idea. However, the sound of an argument traveled through the air and caught my attention.
And you brought me this. Why?
Sir,
Fuck?
the rebel queen demanded it be brought here along with the other materials.
A flower is not important to the ritual. Throw it away or something.
But sir...
I don't want to hear it. Get out.
Oh. From a nearby door, a man dressed in a dark cloak holding a white lily-like flower practically ran out. He left the door ajar, but let out a sigh before turning to walk away, not noticing me. What the? Oh. I walked over and peeked in, seeing that the room was a library. It was huge, and in the middle of it, by a table covered in books, was the lanky man who cast the shadow spell before.
I know you were there, human.
Oh, what? Psychic? Uh-oh. How did he know? What, was he able to smell me or something? The man turned to look at me from over his shoulder.
Please don't just stand there. If you wish to come in, then come in. I'm not fond of people peeking into doorways.
That's a very specific thing to not be fond of. Immediately, I stepped into the room, not wanting to be rude. The man turned towards me and crossed his arms, taking in my full form.
Well, what may I help you with?
Oh, you're nice. I was just wandering around. I didn't mean to intrude on anything.
You needn't. You'll be returned to the human world soon enough.
Okay, then. Fabulous. I bit my lip. He was right. I really didn't need to wander around if I was never going to return. Still, my curiosity was pulling me to explore the castle, and there I was in the library. Well, I simply wanted to see more of the place I happened to land in.
I see. And have you found anything of interest in your little exploration?
Quite. I found this library, didn't I?
That you have.
This is a very odd conversation. The man turned back to the table as I took a moment to look around. There were so many books, it was almost dizzying to peer at them all. How much information was stored here? The man glanced at me as he continued to work on whatever he was focusing on.
I'm curious about something, human. Since you're here, you can answer this.
I turned back to the man as he straightened up and faced me once again.
Are you well-versed in war?
Play Call of Duty a little bit. Excuse me? That came out of nowhere. Why would he expect a woman in a wedding dress to know about war? No, I can't say that I am. Humans tend to try and stay out of war.
Truly? I'm surprised. I've heard that your world is ruled by multiple leaders and beliefs. How are you not constantly at war?
From the tone of his voice, it almost sounded like he was mocking me. Did he think little of humans? I glared. We try and maintain peace because we all know we're different. We don't always agree on things, but we all mostly agree that war is bad, so we avoid it. The man took one more look up and down my form, most likely searching for some physical sign that I was lying or exaggerating. When he seemed to notice that I wasn't, he rubbed his chin gently as I leaned back against the table behind him.
Humans are such interesting creatures. You have your own societies and countries, ruled by presidents and governments. You are ununited, and yet you thrive. I wonder if the demon world can benefit from such a seemingly ignorant agreement.
Was he being serious right now? Why was he being stuck up? I crossed my arms, glaring harder at him. Why does it matter to you what the human world does? You're a demon. Things we do there don't affect anything here.
Ah, but that is where you are mistaken.
What? The man walked around the table and gestured to the books and maps that had covered its surface.
When fighting a war, you need to look at all of the details to try and find the most efficient ways to bring your enemy down. When resolving it, you must be able to not only bring peace, but you must also know how to manage the land you have conquered in the aftermath.
I looked to the map to see multiple routes and ideas plastered over the parchment. Was he seriously doing this much research for this war? However, the man simply crossed his arms.
Unfortunately, I suppose that research on the human world would be for naught. We are two different worlds, after all. Yours is built on steel and electricity, while our world is flooded with magic and stone.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Why was he even talking to me at this rate? The man smirked at the agitated look on my face and chuckled. What's so funny?
I guess it's also true that humans are easily angered. Your expression gives you away so easily.
Oh, what a dick. I growled before turning on my heel and leaving the library. Rude ass. I was better off in my room. We're super fat moding right now because I couldn't scroll back that far, so we're going fast. There we go. Let's just keep going. This has got to be the fastest anyone's ever clicked through this. All right, you're okay? Click. Keep going. Keep going. We're good. Explore. There we go. Back to where we were. Just like that. That quick. All right, so this time we're going to go right, okay? Then we're going to go left, then left. So that's how we're going to do it to get all of them. Pretty sure that's every single one, and that's how we're going to do it. So you went right. Let's just skip a little bit. We already did this. And we're going to go right yet again. My journey down the hall led me to a set of stairs which led to a door to the outside. I remembered Diana's warning, but I was curious. Oh no. I slowly approached the door and opened it, peeking outside to see what it held.
Soldiers!
No, I don't want to get crossed off. I jumped at the sound of a commander's voice, feeling the chill that ran through me when I first encountered the Demon Lord in the Incubi's vision. The Demon Lord wasn't here, was he? Oh, okay. I was like, no, wait. I peeked past the door once again to see the large, muscular man whom I had met when I fell into this world, barking orders at a large group of soldiers. They were all attentive and obedient towards each command he shouted.
You all performed well in holding the Demon Lord off. But if we want to win this war, then you will need to become much stronger. We want to win, yes?
Oh, man.
Yes, Commander.
Oh, shit.
Good. Then pair up and fight like you were fighting the Bastard Lord himself. Keep going until I give you clearance to stop.
Dang. On his order, the soldiers turned either left or right and began to spar as if they were seriously battling each other. It was almost scary to watch, swords clanging violently and shields beating against steel.
Human!
Okay, well, chill. I felt my fear take over me as he called out my race. making me stand up straight as the door swung fully open on its own. I wasn't able to hide anymore.
Front and center!
Oh shit. On its own, my body began to walk. Oh no, he's enthralling us, man. My body began to walk towards the muscled ogre man, and soon I was standing in front and center with the sparring clashing behind me.
Do you have jurisdiction to leave your room, human?
Not necessarily. Yes. I felt my answer force itself out as if I had no control over myself. Why was this happening? I looked at the ogre man and noticed his gold eyes burning into my gaze. Was he using his powers on me? The man crossed his arms and looked at my form.
Why are you here then?
I was curious. With a raised eyebrow, the man uncrossed his arms and looked over to a weapon rack. On it were spears, swords, shields, and other weaponry that I really did not want to deal with while wearing a wedding dress.
Tell me, are you proficient with a sword?
Oh my, I'm not sure. Was he seriously going to make me fight? I somehow regained control of myself and shook my head. No, I mean, I can do taekwondo, but...
Taekwondo? What is that?
Oh, are we about to show this guy our moves? I gulped, but remembered that he was a demon. Human fighting was not like demon fighting. Well, it's a form of fighting without weapons.
What, like brawling?
Yeah, I guess. No, it's like precision fighting, I guess. I mean, I can't really show you in this wedding dress, but...
Then take off your clothes.
Well then, okay, sir. My face instantly turned red. What? I stepped away and crossed my arms over my chest, feeling myself become red in anger and embarrassment. No, why would I do that? The man growled inside, rubbing his head. Did he seriously think asking me that was a good idea? What was he, a pervert? The man then crossed his arms again and stared plainly at me.
If clothes hinder you from defending yourself, you shouldn't wear any. You can look as fancy as you want for whatever reason you want, but fancy clothes won't protect you from a blade.
True that. Might as well go naked from now on. I stared. Was he seriously giving me a lecture about clothes and defending myself? He looked pretty serious, so I continued to listen without interrupting.
There's only one thing in this world that should matter to you. Yourself. If you can't protect yourself, then you need to fix that. Even if that means stripping out of that wedding garb thing or whatever you're wearing.
But I don't need to defend myself right now. I just wanted to show you.
Then show me or don't suggest the idea. Words also have power here. Unlike the human world, we take what we say very seriously.
Dang, alright, man. I suddenly felt small looking at the man. Was he trying to teach me a lesson? I understood what he meant, but was he trying to teach me or berate my reaction? He was making no sense, yet I felt like I should have been listening intently and obeying. What? Was it his commanding aura? The man shook his head and pointed at the door I came from.
Return to where you came from. You'll be sent back to the human world soon enough. Don't distract my soldiers from their training.
Damn, alright, man. I looked behind me to find some of the soldiers looking at me as they fought. Some in hunger, some in confusion, others in disgust. My arms wrapped themselves around my form and I shivered before nodding to the commander and rushing towards the door. Maybe I should have stayed in the room. I marched back to my room, determined to not allow my curiosity to get the better of me anymore. I made the same mistake. We're doing this again. Woo! Here we go. The sound of a heated battle caught my attention. I quickly rushed over to see a door, barely open a crack, and behind it echoed the sound of clashing swords. Oh, what's going on? Oh, I peeked in to see Diana and the guard that was with her before in an intense sword fight. Now that I could take a closer look, the man was extremely handsome and looked human, yet I could sense that he was very much a demon just from his presence alone. The man had the upper hand, but it was easy to tell that he was holding back slightly by letting Diana swing her sword again and again at him before attacking her and forcing her to defend. The look on Diana's face showed pure concentration and almost anger as her sword clashed with his. I had never seen Diana this intense before, so to see stress and determination written across her expression was a surprise. Why was she fighting with a sword, though? She had demon magic.
You're holding back! Enough!
Oh. Diana jumped back from the man, bringing her sword to her side as the man did the same in perfect sync. She growled before tossing the weapon to him, and he caught it by the hilt with ease.
I told you not to hold back. Didn't you hear me?
The man stared at Diana before gently bringing the swords together and making them vanish into a soft black mist. He began to walk towards her as she turned around and crossed her arms.
You can't treat me as if you are training a child, Sarah. I need to be ready for whatever the Demon Lord throws my way, and you holding back is only a hindrance to me.
Dang.
I apologize, my lady.
Is he a guard or something?
Empty words.
Oh, it clicked. They were training. This man was her trainer and she was being treated like a novice. Why? Also, he did apologize. Why was she being so harsh about it? Maybe it was a mistake? Diana let out a sigh and walked to the balcony of the room, laying her hands on the railing and leaning over her arms.
As each day goes by, my kingdom, my army, and I are constantly at risk. If I cannot defend myself when my energy runs out, then how will I defend this kingdom?
You will be victorious.
I will be slaughtered because of your inability to train me properly.
You know why I cannot, and yet you still demand it of me. I cannot bring myself to even potentially harm you.
And that will lead to my death.
Oh. What? What was Sarah talking about? Why couldn't he train her properly? Why was she so peeved about it? Couldn't she just get another trainer?
You will not die, my lady. I promise you that.
I cannot trust anyone who says that to me.
What?
But you know that it's true. I will repeat my promise over and over to you until you accept it.
That promise comes out of a lie.
I watched as Sarah walked over to Diana and gently wrapped his arms around her from behind. She didn't resist, but she didn't lean into the embrace either.
My love for you is not a lie, Azair.
Oh.
You do not have permission to use my name.
Damn, alright.
You are avoiding the subject. My feelings for you are real.
Your feelings are false.
They are as pure and true as your golden heart.
Oh. I could not believe what I was seeing. Diana had an admirer? When did this become a thing? Who even was this guy to her? Why was she so against him and his love?
You will defeat the Demon Lord and bring freedom to the Abyssal Plains. You will rise and become the land's new queen and sovereign, and I will stand beside you forevermore because I love you.
She's just not having it.
Deny my love all you may. I have served you and your family my entire life. I could never lie or hurt you. If you truly cannot love me back, then I will remain as your humble protector and servant till the end of my days.
You waste your life on me.
Oh, man.
It is not a waste to serve and protect the woman I love with my life.
You waste your love on me.
Oh, fuck. Damn. That is like some heartless stuff right there, man.
It's not a waste to love such a wonderful woman.
This guy's like a stone wall, man. He's just unmovable, straight up. I didn't know what to make of this. Sarah really seemed dedicated to Diana, yet she was putting up some sort of emotional wall between them that he couldn't break through. It was sad to watch, yet from the posture Diana held, I could tell that she felt her actions were justified. Maybe she was just trying to protect him from her. Maybe she didn't want to hurt him. I had seen firsthand what she could do if you had something she needed. This must be how she acted when something needed her. Oh! Well, what? Whoa! Diana gently sighed. To his and my surprise, Diana turned her body slightly to Sarah in his arms and ran her hand over Sarah's chest, making his uniform top vanish into purple mist and leaving his chest bare. What was Diana doing?
I need energy.
Oh. Okay then, dang.
From me, or do you wish me to?
Oh, what?
Just give me your energy. I have no time to wait for you to get me a sweet flower.
What the fuck? Sarah nodded before gently turning Diana fully to him in his arms and kissing her. For some reason, it may have looked like a normal kiss, but I could feel the love and passion that ran through it. It was almost magical to watch. One thing was for certain, however, he really did love her. The way he held her painted his feelings like a picture, so openly gentle and loving. Did she love him, though? She simply had one hand holding one of his arms while another rested against Sarah's back. I quickly took that moment to leave, not wanting to disturb them and not wanting to see their moment go any further than that kiss. Oh man, jeez. The hall became larger and larger as I continued to walk. However, I suddenly stopped at the sound of a shout.
Beware my evil reign and bow to your new overlord!
Oh my. What the? I turned towards where the shout was erupting from and saw a door ajar. As I peeked into the room the door led into, I stared at what I saw. What the heck? A floating creature was standing over top of the bed that held a map and miniature pieces, as if someone had set up a strategy board game. The creature was planted on top of a red marker, as if the marker was their mount.
I will rule the entire world, and no one can stop me, because I am the Demon Lord!
Oh my god, she is so evil right now. As it switched to a different personality, the creature quickly jumped and floated over to a purple marker, striking an exaggeratedly sexy pose.
Oh no! I will stop you with my massive boobies and butt powers! I will rule this world, not you! And everyone will love me!
I like how it says meh. You'll love me. Oh my god, who was that, Diana? I watched as the creature bounced back and forth between pretending to be the Demon Lord and Diana, lost and intrigued as to how small and quick they were.
Your boobies cannot scare me, for I have a penis!
What?
And penises ward off fear!
Oh, what? Okay, I mean, if you insist, but I wouldn't go that far. Is she like pretending? What is this chick doing? I like this though. This is funny.
You may have a penis, but I have an army that practically worships my overly curvy and ridiculously perfect body. Oh!
What the fuck? Seriously, and what was up with the emphasis on penis too? She's like, you may have a penis. Like, what is that? I stifled a laugh. This was actually rather amusing to watch, seeing the creature imitate the Demon Lord and their own leader.
Then come here, and I will show you the true power of a Demon Lord.
My.
Soldiers, attack!
Jesus. I stared as what is happening? I stared as the creature suddenly formed multiple little miniature soldiers on opposite sides of the table, using magic to make them clash and smack against each other as if an invisible child was playing with them. There were even some small squeaky stuffed animals and glass figures smacking and crashing together. It was a chaotic little show.
Oh no! We're being overrun! Do not hold back! We'll beat him!
It's like some sort of little fantasy simulation.
The pain! Why? I see it! I see the light!
Oh my god, she's going in. This is like way beyond imagination. She's going in right now. I couldn't stop the laughter from erupting from my stomach. I began to guffaw, amused by the little show I was witnessing. What, you just do this expecting no one to hear or see this? What the frig? The creature, in surprise, poofed into a cloud of smoke before appearing and falling back over the side of the table in its regular size, or at least what I assumed to be their regular size. Whoa, I'm sorry, you okay?
Yep, I'm okay.
Oh my god. The creature managed to hop up and started floating again behind the table, giving me a thumbs up as if nothing was wrong. Their clothes were a bit disheveled, but they gave me a toothy grin.
Hiya!
Oh my god. Sorry for disturbing your,
Huh? Oh, my game! It's okay. I was just getting to the good part.
The good part? The creature nodded before leaning over the table and rearranging all the figurines that still remained on it.
Yeah, when Diana kills the Demon Lord and takes over the world.
That's the best part. Oh, the way that they put it made it seem like Diana was going to be an overlord. Was she really trying to take over the world? The creature looked at me and chuckled.
Oh, you don't know what's happening, huh? Well, we're all fighting the Demon Lord, and by we, I mean me and Diana and the others. But anyway, we're fighting the Demon Lord because he's a tyrant and we don't like tyrants. So we're gonna kill him and take over.
What the heck? They made it seem so simple and so joyous. You guys are really gonna kill him and take over?
Huh? Duh! The Demon Lord is completely crazy! He's burnt down so many villages and destroyed so many forests! He's only causing us harm! That's why we have to stop him!
The creature then put the purple marker next to the red marker, glaring at both.
We have to kill him before he hurts anyone else!
With a flick of her wrist, they used the purple marker and knocked the red one over violently, making it skid across the table towards the edge. Just from the look on their face, they seemed peeved about the Demon Lord. I would be too. Hell, I already was. You all will win. The creature looked up at me before letting go of the marker and placing their hands behind their head with a grin.
You think so?
Yeah, man. I nodded with a reassuring smile. They seemed confident enough to battle the Demon Lord, and if it was for the best, then it had to be done. The creature nodded back to me before yawning.
So, you're gonna marry a demon, huh?
Mm-hmm. By the way, to get to this next part, just in case they mention it, to get to this part, I couldn't use the save where I was with Damien, so I had to use somebody else's save, so that's why this may be a little bit different at this particular part, but it doesn't matter because we just want to see what's happening here. I stared at them, unsure of what the change in topic came from. The creature laughed a bit.
Don't tell me you forgot.
Oh no, it's not that, it's just, where did this come from?
Well, you are heading home tonight. This is my only chance to ask why.
Why?
Yeah, why a demon? Why not another human?
See what I mean?
I mean, I'm not against demons and humans getting together or whatever, but I was just curious, you know? There are like billions of humans on your world. Why a demon?
It's the enthrallment. That's probably what it is. I took a moment to think about the demon in question whom I was marrying. His face made me smile, and the thought of being able to be with him again made my heart warm up in excitement. His presence remained in my heart, and I knew my answer. I don't really remember which incubi I'm actually on in this one, but because I love him.
You love him?
Yes, I do. The creature stared at me as if I had 3 heads. Was what I said wrong? No, it couldn't have been because it was true. And yet the creature continued to stare at me oddly. What?
Huh? Oh, nothing. It's just weird.
What's weird?
Love. It's just weird, okay? But if it works for you, that works, I guess. It's not like I'm the one getting married.
I stared at the creature, unsure of what they meant. However, before I could question them, they yawned and stretched out.
Alright, I'm gonna steal some snacks. You should head back to your room or whatever
Oh
so
my
that
God.
Diana doesn't catch you snooping around. She doesn't like snooping. Or was it swooping?
The creature shrugged as I nodded. It was probably for the best that I returned to my room. I knew my way back, so I left the room and returned to my room. Alright, that was an interesting one. I think that's my favorite one. That was pretty funny. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up Damien's intro. I hope you enjoyed that one. Honestly, very surprising. I don't remember him saying that he wanted to be a human in the first one. Maybe it's because we didn't do his ending. Maybe he mentions it there in Seduce Me 1. But either way, very interesting and cool take on the whole subject. Most of the other guys, you know, well, I wouldn't say most of them, but a lot of them had like an evil side to them, which is going to be cool to see. But, you know, Sam and Damien seem to be kind of like an off branch of that and have a little bit of an interesting thing going on their own. So it's going to be pretty cool seeing them in the final game, but I really enjoyed this. This was a very fun time, and guys, I gotta admit, we missed so much content. You know, I'm glad we did the choices in the Demon World that we missed before, because we did miss like 4 major conversations. Definitely the icing on the cake was 100% the fairy lady. That was awesome. I thought that was hilarious, and honestly, it felt almost like an Easter egg to me. You know what I mean? Like we were finding something secretive. I just thought that was pretty awesome. So kudos to them for including that. It was pretty cool. But I really enjoyed it. So let me know in the comments if you enjoyed. Let me know which introduction, or I guess which incubi is your favorite, and which one you're going to be starting out with when the game finally comes out. Because I know, again, like I said, I'm going to be doing James. That's who I chose in the original one. But you know, I gotta admit, it's hard to choose. These are all really good so far. It's going to be very, very interesting, and I'm going to want to really tackle all these very, very heavily. It's going to be cool. So I can't wait to get to that, guys, when that does come out. But either way, let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. Make sure you rate the video what you think it deserved. And if you did enjoy, consider sharing the video as well. If you want to become a Sage in training, make sure you subscribe today. And as always, this has been Mr. Bazy, your favorite Sage, and I'll see you in the next video.